Hello and welcome to today's broadcast. We are broadcasting live both on YouTube and Facebook, but this broadcast will be published on both of those sites so you can catch it on the rebroadcast as well. I always ask that if you are new, you please take a second to hit that subscribe button and that like button. And while you're on the broadcast with us, if you feel like sharing, we always appreciate that as well. Today we are going to be talking about limiting beliefs, and could your limiting beliefs keep you from being successful at something like intermittent fasting. So I hope you guys will join us in the discussion today. Know that those comment sections are there for you so that you can join in the discussion and ask any questions you would like. I talk about the subject for the first 10 or 15 minutes or so, and then we turn it over to our comment section where we bring you, our community, in for our broadcast today. So limiting beliefs, they are that thought process that a lot of us tend to default to, no fault of our own. Could just be that way we were conditioned, maybe through our childhood, or just what happens to us over time when we're not proactively managing how it is we go about our day. I talk here very openly about the fact that I grew up in a very negative household and that I have had to do a lot of brain training myself and reconditioning in my own life to make sure that I am not defaulting to that limiting belief type of mentality. And I do that through the practice of reading lots of personal development books and listening to podcasts and really asking myself a series of questions and running myself through a series of tests to see if maybe I am living in that type of belief system. And I'm going to share with you what those three things are, and then I'm going to intertwine, like we always do, how this might be affecting you with something like intermittent fasting. So the first thing I always like to ask myself, and I use this when I'm coaching women as well, is a very simple question of how has that been working for you? And if you find yourself very frustrated with some things that are going on in your life, or you feel like you're not making the progress that you should be making, or maybe you're seeing other people find success in certain areas and you're wondering why the heck you're not, oftentimes it can be that you are just living in that limiting belief type of mindset and you are repeating the same old things over and over again that aren't really working very well for you, but because it's just who you are or how you've been conditioned, that you're afraid to step out of the box. You're afraid to change lanes, however it is that you want to describe that. And so despite the fact that you're not getting the results, you're not willing to step outside and try something new. That is the classic case of limiting beliefs, where we're unhappy, we're not fulfilled in our life, yet our mindset is so ingrained in us and we're so stuck in it that despite the fact things aren't working for us, we can't consider other options. So that's the first thing. The second thing is when you identify that maybe what it is you're doing isn't working for you, and you've identified where it is that you're limiting yourself in your own belief system, what you really need to do is open up your mind to possibilities of something different working for you. And we talked about this a lot last year when we were reading the mindset book, and we talked about living in a fixed mindset versus living in a growth mindset, and how we can be very growth mindset like in certain areas of our life, and then very fixed mindset life in specific areas of our life. And being in this industry and in this community here with women, myself included in that, we tend to be very limiting in our beliefs or very fixed in our mindset when it comes to taking care of ourselves. And oftentimes that is because of the fact that food and or nutrition has been so ingrained in us and so dictated to us that we have lost the natural ability to have a growth mindset about it, that we have become so dependent on other people telling us how we should be taking care of ourselves that we don't know how to get out of that fixed mindset, or we don't know how to unlimit our beliefs in that, because we're so afraid of all of the things that we have been told in our past, and despite the fact that they're not working for us, the alternative still seems very scary for us. So first, you want to make sure you can identify that certain things in fact are not working for you. The second thing you want to do is be open to try new things. The worst thing that's going to happen to you if you are open-minded and you try something new is it's not going to work for you either, and you've lost nothing. So if what you're currently doing isn't working for you and you try something new and that doesn't work for you, you've lost no ground, but you've had practiced the opened mindset type of mentality, and you at least tried something new. You know, there's no shame and there's no loss in failure. The only thing that we should really be concerned about is the fact that we're not willing to try. So open up your mind and see if there might be a better way. And then the third thing is test something out. Like I said, what is the worst thing that's going to happen? It didn't work for you, or maybe it didn't work for you as the way it was presented, and that you might be able to apply some little tweaks or put in some of your own little lifestyle hacks into something and see if that might yield you some better results. So the three things really quick. First, ask yourself, how is what you're currently doing working for you? If you're not getting the answer that you want from that, the second thing you need to do is be open-minded enough to try something new. And then the third thing is you have to be willing to test something out, and you have to be willing to fail at it, or at least figure out how to create your own little nuances so that you can find the success. That's exactly what happened to me when I first started intermittent fasting. I failed for an entire year. I invested in all the intermittent fasting courses. I invested in all the books. I invested in all the time watching YouTube videos and listening to webinars and listening to podcasts. And it wasn't until I was able to open up my own mindset and really consider how this could work for me as an aging woman and apply some tweaks to it. It wasn't until I was able to do that and really open up my own mindset to create what we have today, which is the intermittent fasting for today's aging woman, which is very, very specific to our age group and the season of life that we are all going in. So limiting beliefs are just that mindset that we default to due to conditioning, maybe some past experiences, or maybe because we have tried so many things in the past and they just don't work. And so we believe nothing is going to work for us. So past conditioning can lead to this. Fear of the unknown can lead to this. So you do have to really consider what type of mindset that you generally default to. Is it a fixed mindset? Can you apply maybe some of the growth mindset techniques that you have in other areas of your life and apply it to something like taking care of yourself or trying something new in the realm of whatever we have going on with nutrition and fitness for ourselves? So I listened to an amazing talk this weekend about negative thoughts, and I wanted to make sure that I shared it here in this community as well, because oftentimes when we as women think about intermittent fasting, our first limiting belief is fasting seems scary. Fasting seems like I'm going to starve myself. Clean fasting seems completely unimaginable because I don't think I could live without my creamer. And we really do set these limits up for ourselves before we even try. So we have this barrier set up, we have this block set up for ourselves, and we haven't ever even given it a try. So when we put a negative thought like that into our head, it takes 16 positive touches in your mindset to erase one negative thought. So think about how much work that's going to take, or how many more exposures to something that you're going to have to invest in to get that one limiting belief out of your mind. So if you go into something considering it as an option for you, and your first reaction is to create a limited mindset for yourself or a limiting belief, it's going to take 16 more exposures to get that out of your own brain. This is why here in this community, I share all the time the books I'm reading and the way we should be thinking about this, and why in our intermittent fasting for today's aging woman course, believe it or not, fasting is not the primary focus of our group. Feasting is not the primary focus of what I want to teach you when you're inside of our course. What I want to teach you inside of our course is to think a different way about how you're caring for yourself, especially as you're going through this aging process. And it takes some work and it takes some practice, which is why a community like we have gathered here is such an amazing thing for us women. We often don't have a place where we can go where there isn't going to be a bunch of people throwing those negative beliefs out there, maybe even at you directly, or even in your space, so that you might pick them up. We have to be very careful not only about what we're doing in our own mindset and what we're believing for ourselves, but we have to be very careful about what we're exposing ourselves to as well. And there's something crazy about and really unknown about the whys about what social media does to a lot of people, but you have to be very guarded about where you're going to spend your time and who you're going to allow to influence you, and make sure that if you're spending time in some of these places and it seems to be a really negative place, consider spending your time somewhere else, because that's only going to contribute to something that maybe you already have naturally ingrained in you. I admit that all the time, that that's where I have lived most of my life, and it's taken a lot of work to get me out of that space, and I have to be very guarded about where I'm spending my time and who I'm letting influence my own thought process as well. So I force myself into very positive positions because I want those 16 positive touches every day to make sure that if I have a negative thought go through my mind, I have the opportunity to change that as well. I was doing a run this weekend as well, and it's funny how all these little lessons all come together at appropriate times, but my running coach said, when you have that first reaction and it's not something that's positive, make sure you're training your brain to create a second thought. And if your first thought is, there's no possible way I could fast for 20 hours, or there's no possible way I could ever have a cup of coffee with creamer in it, or I can't even imagine having to go without creamer. Did I say with creamer? Mm-hmm. Without creamer. I couldn't imagine having coffee with creamer, without creamer in it. Or you have that, like you can feel your body like tighten up and pull in, and you feel super defensive about that thought you have. And what if we could train our brain to go to a second thought? And maybe I can't right now imagine fasting for 20 hours clean, but what if I got some more information about that? Or what if I talked to someone else who was doing it? Or what if I just gave it a try? Like, what do I have to lose? And if you're that person that has that limiting belief because of the first thought you have, train yourself to get to the second thought before you shut it down. And that is really what we are trying to empower in women here in the intermittent fasting for today's aging woman community. We want to work on all three aspects of how we're healing our body. Yes, the health aspect is super important to us. The physical aspect and the changes that we're able to make with our body are, yes, there's something that we want to make sure that we're focused on as well. But the third component, which we often fail to think about, is we have to make sure that we're creating a healthy mindset as well. And we have to make sure that what we think and how we translate that into what we say or what we type on a keyboard and hit post on, or how it is we respond to people in our lives, is something that we're actively working on improving as well. Because no one's ever going to remember if Betty wore a size 7 jeans, but they are going to remember if she wasn't very nice and she wasn't fun to spend time with. And that's the legacy we want to leave with the people that we love the most. Were you a person that was fun to hang out with? Did you contribute to social events in a positive way? Or were you the really gorgeous, fit-looking woman standing in the corner that no one wanted to spend time with because you didn't do the work up here? So make sure that when you are thinking about making these positive changes for yourself, that you're including all three aspects of what it really does mean to be healthy. And if you find yourself stumbling over the same frustrating things all the time in your life, consider what your belief system is, and maybe it's limiting you. And if you open up some options, give some things a test, ask yourself a very basic question of how that's working for you, and then consider trying something new. See how that might change some things that you have going on in your life and create the result that you ultimately are hoping for. Like I said, I work on this all the time in my own personal life. I'm constantly reading books. I'm constantly exposing myself to positive people because I want to get those 16 points of positivity in my life every day. And I hope that what we do here in this community is allowing you to have at least one of those positive points in your day as well. We're going to go ahead and welcome everyone on Facebook really quickly today. So if you haven't left a comment yet, I love knowing you guys are here. What I love about doing these live broadcasts as opposed to just uploading videos to social media platforms is I get to have an opportunity to have a two-way conversation with all of you, and that is the part of this community that I am super passionate about, and I always love making sure that you know that you are seen and that you are here and you are valued for spending time with us here. So Teresa is here. She's just down the road from us. Teresa, one day we have to get together and do a little double date at HG Supply Company and have a face-to-face meeting for sure. It's always good to have you with us here as well. And I know Teresa is one of those women who has made that amazing shift in her life and really opening herself up to some new options with what she's doing with this lifestyle. And it shows every day in the interaction that she has with our communities and inside our courses as well. Then I wanted to read something. I got permission from my one of my course graduates about a comment that she left in our graduates Facebook page. And these are all graduates from our Intermittent Fasting for Today's Aging Woman course. And she left this comment today, and this is exactly why I show up here a few times a week and share all the magic that intermittent fasting has really been able to provide for a lot of us women. And she said, this is from Geo from our graduates course, graduates community. She said, for the first time in over 25 years, I was able to walk into a hostile place of a bunch of mean girls without feeling insecure about being different from every person in the room. I walked in unselfconsciously as me. IF way of life is the reason. So I do think that when you have an opportunity to create your own lifestyle and you feel empowered about the decisions that you're making for yourself, and you get this newfound sense of confidence and this newfound sense of energy, everything else in your life gets better as well. Oftentimes we think about creating better opportunities outside of us as individuals, and I really do think that when we bring it back to center and really work on ourselves as women as the priority and healing a lot of these things that we've been conditioned to become or believe throughout our life, no fault of anyone, it's just the way that life works, then everything else in our life becomes this ripple effect of positivity and energy and a lot of amazing opportunities that can happen for us. There's no one perfect way to fast. There's no one perfect way to feast, but there are so many amazing opportunities for us to just live our lives so much happier when we really do dedicate what it is we're doing to the big whole picture for us women, for sure. So let's see, Amy, good to have you with us as well. Amy is my cousin, for those of you who don't know. She's a graduate of our 2017 class. Alexandra, good afternoon. I'm watching from Florida. Good to have you with us. Hello from South Holland. I think it's Artemesi, I think is your name. Excuse me if I pronounced it incorrectly. Patrice from New York City. Good to have you with us. Brenda from North Carolina, July and August 2019 graduate. Lorraine tuning in from Germany. Good to have you with us, girlfriend. We love our international community here for sure. Melissa, always great to catch. I'm watching live from North Carolina. Good to have you with us as well. I have family there. And then Sandra from Florida is here. Donna, love your hair. Thank you so much. I just got my hair cut last week. I love it too. Holly, September 2019 grad from the Villages of Florida. Thank you for all you do. You're welcome, and thank you for showing up here with us today. I appreciate you spending time with us. Robin from Virginia, Noreen from Alabama, Lori from North Dakota, 2019 grad. Love this lifestyle too, girlfriend. Karen from, I think it's at Minnesota, I think is what it is. Heather, I jumped on the clean eating bandwagon about 8 years ago, which has helped me in the fasting journey. January 2020 grad from Canada. 20-hour fast, 4-hour feast daily is a good feeling for sure. And then Lori, Heather, did you feel a little bit nervous about that before you started? And has your belief system or mindset changed now that you're a graduate of the course? And then Lori, so many people tell me they could never drink coffee without creamer. That was me a year ago. I just really try to encourage others, start trying this lifestyle. Yeah, for sure. I know so many times, we hold on to these things and we value things like coffee creamer so high on our priority list, and we never really think about, what that could be doing to us in the long term, especially a lot of us who are struggling with these sugar-related diseases, and to think about coffee being so much more important, or creamer being so much more important to us than us looking and feeling our best, is a hurdle that's really hard for us to get over. And I've shared here before, I've cried about French fries, I've cried about chips and salsa, and and I didn't want to give those foods up, and the thought of having to give up the things that I loved and cherished the most, margarita, all those things, but what happens when you get past this first 3 weeks, when you get past building a foundation and realizing how good you can feel just by making a few tweaks to your life, your priorities change drastically, and what you covet and what you think you have to have in your life to be happy, all of that changes. I haven't had a margarita or a drop of alcohol since September, and I was the girl that was going to try to make this work without having to give that up. And it took me a couple years to get there, but I got to tell you, I feel amazing. I feel so much better than I did when I thought I felt amazing just a few short months ago, or a year ago. And so it is a process of self-evaluation and not having that limiting belief system, and then prioritizing things for how they really matter to you. And we always talk about getting to your why here in this community, and your why will change, and it'll get deeper, and it'll become so much more personal for you once we open up that belief system and really start asking ourselves the questions that we need to ask, for sure. And then Donna, love your course from North Dakota. Donna, I appreciate you saying that so much. And then Maria, hello Diane, thank you for your advice. I love how you speak clear and direct. I'm graduated the IF and am so happy. Maria, thank you so much for saying that. This is really a simple concept. If you think about intermittent fasting as just a standalone event, what really does make it complicated is our emotions and our mindset and our belief system and the conditioning that we have all grown up with. And that really is where I like to focus on teaching this community, is that you don't need anyone to tell you how to intermittent fast. It's a super simple concept, but life gets in the way and social obligations get in the way. And yes, even as grown women, we face peer pressure, and we can't show up our most confident self, or we don't even know what it means to look and feel our best anymore, because we haven't seen that woman in so long. And we don't know what it means to live authentically, because for a lot of us, especially as we're raising children or helping other people and not putting ourselves as a priority, we don't even know what it means to be our authentic selves anymore. And really using that as the foundation, it just so happens to be that intermittent fasting is a great vehicle for us to use to be able to get to that place. And so it is a huge transformation. It is a big mindset change. And when it happens, it is absolutely amazing. So I appreciate you guys sharing that here with us as well. Heather, the course was key for sure. Daily video and focus on the goal was a big deal. Yeah, it is. Like I said, intermittent fasting is an easy concept. I've been in the health and fitness business for over 25 years. I should have been able to be successful at it. I practiced it for an entire year, but it wasn't until I was able to really think about how I should be doing it as a woman in the season that I was in, and let go of some of my own limiting beliefs, was I able to do it the way that we all do it today. That is working so beautifully. So it is a big deal for sure. And then Maria is from Spain. Love having you, girlfriend. And then Jay Swansea from Montana is here with us as well. Did I get everyone, Michael? I think I did, right? Yeah. Okay, cool. And a couple more people over here on Facebook I will welcome. Let's see, Teresa, I would love to double date with you and Michael. Yeah, that would be super fun. We got to figure out how to get that on the calendar. Maybe we'll wait till it gets a little warmer so we can all sit out on the patio together. And then Judy, November 2019 graduate, daily consistently fast 21 hours and have great workouts. At 65, I feel awesome. And since November, have lost 17 pounds and 23 inches. Girlfriend, I am so proud of you, Judy. Yeah, and now it's time and consistency, time and consistency, time and consistency. And you'll be able to maintain all of those things that you have gained for yourself, and working out and feeling awesome at 65. I pray I can, I'm going to stick with all the things that I'm doing to make sure that I'm right there with you when I'm 65 as well. So thank you for being a leader and a force for us to all strive to be. I am super proud of you. And then Julie from Kansas, hello, September 2018 grad for sure. And then Anna, the biggest lesson besides the lifestyle is your message about personal integrity. Moms tend to take a second seat, and now I feel like I'm figuring myself out again. I commit for others now. It's time to do it again for myself. Yeah, for sure. And you guys, I'm reading an amazing book right now, and it's called Why Women Can't Sleep. And I have to admit, I shared this in my email to my graduate community this weekend. When I first saw this book and it said Why Women Can't Sleep, I was like, oh, I don't need to know. I don't need any more information about insomnia. I'm sleeping like a baby. I sleep deep sleep every night. Like, I don't need to know any more about this. And then I started reading what this book was about, and it's the crisis we are in as women in our generation. It's the Gen X generation is specifically what she's referring to, but it's all of us here, right? And it's that feeling of losing ourselves and how that happened. And the book is absolutely beautifully written. I am like, I can't get enough of it. It just helps me feel like I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be, and it's okay to be a little lost and confused, because that's how life has just happened for us. But we know here in this community we have a choice, and that doing simple things like just changing how you feed your body can really help us undo some of that conditioning. And so if you haven't picked up the book yet, I highly recommend picking it up. It's called Why Women Can't Sleep, and it's our new midlife crisis. It's an amazing book. It will help you really understand why you feel the way you feel, and why that's okay. So if you're looking for a good book, that's a good one. I highly, highly, highly recommend it. And then Christine, happy Monday from South Central Kentucky. Happy Monday to you as well. I posted on my Instagram today and Facebook page, hey, we get to have a Monday. Let's figure out a way that we can take advantage of this beautiful day that we all get to have an opportunity to show up for. And let's make the best of it. Let's figure out a way that we can show up for ourselves first and foremost, looking and feeling our best and living our most authentic life, so that we can show up for all the other people that need us as well. But if we can't show up for ourselves that way, if we can't make the decisions to identify what it's going to take for us to show up and be that way, then we are no good to anyone else, and we are going to run ourselves into the ground. So it's okay to be selfish. We give enough. We give enough. Be a little bit selfish. Figure out how you can create a lifestyle for yourself that you show up for you, looking and feeling your best and living your most authentic life. And identify some areas where you might have some of those limiting beliefs, and are they cheating you out of that opportunity? I had to ask myself those same questions, to be very honest with myself, and thank God I did, because here we are almost 4 years into this community, and I can tell you that my belief system has completely changed, and I love sharing that with all of you here. We do have our intermittent fasting for today's Aging Woman course open for registration. I unapologetically share it with you guys when our registration is open, because there will always be a group of women who are bummed out that they missed registration. So registration will close on Friday. Do yourself a favor. Give yourself the gift of going through a course that will not only teach you intermittent fasting, but will help you really design a life for yourself where you can show up for yourself. And that is the ultimate underlying purpose of what we teach in the intermittent fasting for today's Aging Woman course. I appreciate you guys jumping on with me today. We will be back here on Wednesday at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time, and we'll discuss another topic about intermittent fasting and today's Aging Woman. I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you guys on Wednesday.